Joining us now is the Attorney General for the great state of Texas, Greg Abbott. He is also now a candidate to succeed Rick Perry as governor. Mr. Attorney General, good to have you with us. Hostile to the Constitution, you must tremble that he will not be impressed with your credentials or your interpretation of the Constitution, as he has been so dismissive of his fellow attorneys in both the House and the Senate.
Well, Lou, here's what I think is worse, and that is this is purportedly for the purpose of enforcing the Voting Rights Act. But in reality, this is nothing more than political theater. Look at the way this legal challenge against Texas was launched. It wasn't launched in a courtroom. It was launched at a National Urban League convention. This reeks of politics, and Lou, this just follows on the footsteps of Barack Obama's national field director coming to Texas, claiming they are going to turn Texas blue. So this is nothing more than the Obama administration trying to rush into Texas and use the Voting Rights Act for political purposes.
You know, as his Attorney General, Eric Holder, as the president himself, talked about this very issue, contesting with the state of Texas, I had to really sort of scratch my head, because with all their bluster and all of their pandering at two different events, on two different occasions in discussing the Voting Rights Act, they in fact were not paying attention to what you have done to them. You have whipped them. You have beat them, what is it, about 10-4 in court.
10-4.
And, you know, that's an average that would make any major leaguer proud. And I just can't get over what they're thinking. You would think they'd be scared of Greg Abbott instead of trying to provoke you.
Well, I pretty much have a parking space reserved at the United States Supreme Court. We've been there so often. And in fact, when this key Supreme Court decision that launched all these efforts came down, it gave us 2 more victories against the Obama administration. And so really what we think they're doing, Lou, this is nothing more than politics. You know, one of the issues caught up here is the issue of voter ID. Apparently, they feel threatened by integrity in the election process, whereas we insist on ensuring that there will be security at the ballot box, which is why we are defending against these challenges.
And the law that you all have passed and put into effect is modeled on what? The Indiana state law, which has been supported by the U.S. Supreme Court. Is that correct?
And well, Lou, you're absolutely correct. The United States Supreme Court came out and said that voter ID is perfectly constitutional. It does not disenfranchise anyone. And then Texas passed a law modeled on that Indiana law. But Lou, think about this. If Democrats really think that showing a photo ID is discriminatory, why is it that they required a photo ID in order to get into the Democrat National Convention? Listen, we think that an ID should be required for the most sacred vote a person can cast in the United States, and that's a vote at the ballot box. So, and because the Supreme Court upheld it, because the United States Department of Justice said that it was necessary in order to prevent voter fraud to take place, we think the court should uphold it.
And this battle joined, you have other contests in court with this administration across a broad number of fronts. What is the next one to come to court?
Well, Lou, we always have some that involve the EPA. We've had a bunch already and many more that will be involving the EPA. Lou, we're also challenging the Dodd-Frank law because we've seen the havoc that Dodd-Frank is wrecking on the financial industry. We're also weighing in on an amicus side on behalf of all the states that have joined with us here in the country, challenging the president's constitutional power to make these recess appointments, which challenges his recess appointments to the National Labor Relations Board, as well as his recess appointment to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So we see time after time after time the Obama administration taking action that seems to challenge the Constitution, and time after time after time, the state of Texas is there to push right back.
Well, Greg Abbott, we are delighted to have you with us. We wish you success beyond even the measure that you've already experienced. And thank you so much for being with us. Greg Abbott, Attorney General.
My pleasure, Lou.
Great state of Texas.